I'm Justin. I've been in Japan for about 6 months teaching, and I'm excited to be here today. How about you? Alright, so I'm going to be talking about teaching to different level students, whether it be from motivation or from their natural abilities, and how to get them all excited and in class. So, what we all know. Our students are all different and in the classroom for different reasons. Some are being forced, coerced by their parents. Others see it as a necessary step towards an academic or career goal. Got a lot of future nurses and doctors who want to learn as much English as possible. Occasionally there are even those few rare cases of kids that actually really want to learn English and travel and see the world. Beyond motivation, all people are simply different. We learn different ways and different speeds. Regardless, the responsibility falls to us to impart all of our English knowledge on them. So differences in enthusiasm and motivation. Kids who actually want to be there or don't want to be there. Some are just not interested in learning English. They're not there for themselves, they're there for their parents. And what I think the most important thing to do is not to push them, not to jump down their throat and force English on them, because then they're just going to grow up hating it and resenting English and everyone who speaks English. And that really defeats the purpose. If the student is new to the class, be sensitive to their anxiety and their stress level. A lot of kids, when they first get into class, when I first started teaching, I would just bombard them with questions and talking specifically to them to make them feel a part of class. And I think that's really the wrong way to go. You want to just let them kind of come to you, let them see the rest of the class and how it's working, and then sooner or later they're going to start speaking up and trying to get involved and engage, especially if the other kids seem to be having fun. So kind of just be aware that those kids, when they're starting out, are going to be a little tentative. Trying to mistake a low-grade panic attack for a lesser ability. I'm sure you've all had the situation where you're teaching the class, going around in a circle, and it gets this one student, and you know they know it, you've seen them write on their homework, you just freeze. And then you have that deer in headlight stare, like they're going to kill themselves if you don't stop looking at them. Try not to if you know that the kid's like that, the kid has anxiety and gets stressed out, don't do that. Maybe pull them aside, maybe block the other students from their view, get one-on-one, get close to them, so that they know they're just talking just to you, and they don't freak out, and in turn freak you out, and just stop the class dead in its tracks. And especially, this goes mostly for the older students, for those junior high school kids. I find 12-year-old girls can be really moody and difficult at times. Give them a pass on days that they are just don't want to talk to you. You can see it when they walk into the room, they want no part of you. Don't force it down their throats. Don't just yell at them. Come on, talk to me. Come on, what'd you do today? Though, if they know that they have days that they can just be themselves and just kind of de-stress, let them have that. You don't know what's going on in their personal lives. You don't know what's going on in school and at home. If they just can't handle it that day, I would suggest letting them go. And I think you'll find that as you get a personal relationship with your students that you'll know those days. You'll know when it's best not to push them into a corner. Now, the kids who are different stability and slow learners, the kids that no matter how hard you try, just not getting at the same speed as everybody else. And you're sitting there and you're trying your best, but some kids just learn faster, some are better at languages, some are better at science and math, some are better at music. Some kids, I'm sure you've been in language classes yourselves or just been in a classroom where, a couple kids, and no matter how hard they try, they're just not getting it as quickly, but they're putting the effort there. It's important not to demotivate them. You got to keep them excited and ready to go. So I would say, be aware that some may not have been learning English as long as others. So you might have some kids in class who, you just stepped into class, but one kid's been there for 3 months, one's been there for 6 months, another one's been there for a year. You have to be aware of that and know that some will have some vocabulary, some grammar that other ones just have no idea about, and be patient with that. Some of the kids are just hyperactive. I don't know if you have maybe a class of all boys. And no matter what you do, they just start hitting each other and running around. For some reason, Coach Rowe just needs to get up and walk to the window every 5 seconds. Don't know why. I like to play a lot of active games with them. Maybe a basketball game, they flip a card, they say the grammar, and they play basketball. Tried baseball once, I wouldn't recommend it. Another one, I call it carnival cups. I don't know if you can call it your own thing. But just stacking the cups, and you get them on the other side of the room, and they just whip the ball at them. Anything with sticky ball, anything where they get to move around. At the seminar in October, we had someone present, Michael from Choshi, about different kinds of learners, kinesthetic learners or musical learners, visual learners, and I find that some of the kids that they seem a little bit like they're lagging behind. It's not that they can't get it, just that that's not how they learn. They don't learn by sitting there listening to you or saying the grammar over and over again and repeating. They need to associate a movement to it, and that helps them a lot. Charades is also good for this. And finally, others are just slow learners and require more time and patience. If you just have those kids that they just need that extra time and effort, don't be afraid to give it to them. Pull them aside, sit them close to you maybe, and maybe just give them that little bit of extra effort that you really have to in the classroom. So what do you expect me to do with these different learners? Okay. For the higher level students, always have follow-up questions to level up the topic. You'll have those classes where that one kid just kind of wants to go off on their own because they understand everything in the book, and then you have that slower student who is just struggling to get, this is blue, this is red. If that stronger student is starting now to associate it beyond the book, and that's a red pen, or this book is blue, you got to go with it. You can't limit them. So with those higher level students, I would just say ask them an extra question, ask them a slightly more difficult question, maybe that's further in the book. And the weaker student will not mind the extra attention going to the higher student. That little one extra question motivates the higher level student and gives the weaker student a break while they get to still hear the higher level grammar, so they're still involved. With games and activities, be the one to beat. Have them compete against you instead of each other. This way, if you have maybe hangman or face erase, you draw your face and then they draw a face for themselves, and every time they get a right answer they can erase your face. Every time they get a wrong answer you can erase part of their face, an eye or an E or something like that. It's good for them because then the higher level student can excel in the activity while the lower level student isn't just losing and hating the classroom because of that. I find also, I said, physical games, so maybe the really smart kid in class is winning every activity. So you do a more physical activity, so maybe the lower level student who's maybe more of an athlete or something, if that's the case, can win a couple of games and feel good about themselves. And then there are always just the more random chance kind of games, like the kurohige, I call it pirate barrel. It's a barrel of the pirate, and you stick the swords in. And so anybody can win, but they're still all doing the same grammar to go through it. I find that helps a lot with those classes with really disparate levels. And